Today we're going to look at doing the stringers for house stairs. This is done by routing out for the placement of the treads and risers instead of a traditional cut stringer. To do that, we need a template. This template is a piece of 3/4 inch plywood. I've taken a piece of tread material, placed it in there with a wedge, a piece of the riser material and a wedge, and made a master template. You're going to want to put the master template aside. So from the master template, you will make the template that you're going to use, knowing that at some point you're going to damage it, and you'll want the master template available to quickly make a replacement. We want to determine how wide a board we're going to need to produce the stringer. Some people have indicated, there's a Tom in Kent, England, who said that it was difficult for him to get boards wider than 10 inches. Typically here we'll use something that's 11 1/4. But we'll look at what's the minimum size we can get away with. For this, we're looking at a rise of around 113 inches, which would give us, maybe a 15 riser stair. That gives us a 7 9/16 rise that fits within code in my area. So I'm going to take that amount and I'm going to enter it as the rise function in a Construction Master calculator. I'm going to take my run. Standard run's 10 inches, but you can make it anything that you'd like. I'm going to enter 10 inches as my run, and now I'm going to hit the diagonal key. We're going to work off the diagonal. That's the area that we do our layout from. We find it's a lot easier. So we got 12.5 inches of diagonal. The first thing we want to do before we lay anything out is determine what is the reveal that we would like to have between the nosing and the top of the stringer. So how much material is showing. It's an arbitrary amount. I tend to run 2 inches as my reveal from the straight line. That's not 2 inches off the plumb. You'll see that later when we lay it out. So I'll take and I'll strike a line with steel square, combination square, 2 inches down. I've got my gauges set up for 7 9/16 and 10. And if I simply place that as a cut stringer, you'll find that it's back quite a ways from your nosing reveal that you'd like. To place the template in the correct location, we'll set it up just as if we were going to do a cut stringer. Take a straight edge and draw a line long enough that we can take our template and line it up so that the top edge, the edge that would be the top of the tread, is placed on the line, and we'll move it until the nosing just touches the 2-inch layout that we did to the steel square. We'll then take and put a cleat on here as a guide to run back and forth. When we do this, we see that the template that I've made does not extend past the end of the board. I've laid out here from the face of the riser back 10 inches, and I've made a mark. This mark here indicates the minimum depth that the skirt can be and not have a gap showing on the finished product. On a straight run stair, most of your strength is going to be picked up by screwing into the studs. So you don't have to worry about a great deal of strength coming from the stringer. We can now look to see what we can get away with for the depth of the stringer. And right now, when I come down to my line, I've got 8.5 inches showing. So I could conceivably do this from a 10-inch board. It'd be a little bit smaller than I'd like, but if you're like Tom and you'd have to special order anything over a 10-inch, you can get away with this by ordering a 10-inch board, which is going to come in at nominal 9 3/4. You want to have the end of the routing coming out past the back side of the board so that you can slip the material in. What you don't want to do is have the thing so that the routing stops and starts in the middle of the board. You're not going to be able to slide another piece in between from behind, and you're not going to be able to fit the wedges very easily. So in this case, if this was something that I was going to do, I'd either need to make a longer tail on the template, bringing this down more, or I would cut this back to make that reveal. If this were going to be a freestanding staircase, you then have a couple of choices where you would make the template larger, or you're going to have a little more difficult time fitting the treads inside a captured opening. We'll look at that in another video later. Now that we know the angle that we're going to run, we want to lay out our dimensions on the diagonal. We do not want to lay out those 12.5-inch increments on the nosing line. It's very difficult to get a consistent line when you're trying to hit the radius on the jig. We want to have our layout line land on the corner, the square portion, which is actually the inside of the where the two wedges are going to line up. We'll lay this out again where we're going to place it. We'll slide it down, and we'll make a mark where that referencing corner is going to be. This then is the line where we will make all of our marks for layout. And at this time I'll attach the guide rail to the template.